Imagine hearing a woman scream through your walls. Not once, not twice, but so often you learn to sleep with one eye open because her abuser lives next door. And when you finally step in to help, he tries to ruin your life with a fake police report. He didn't expect I'd outsmart him, and he definitely didn't expect my revenge would grow in his backyard forever. If you've ever watched someone hurt the innocent and get away with it, only to crave justice like a hunger in your bones, then smash that like button, subscribe, and get ready. Because this isn't just a revenge story. It's about turning pain into power. I lived next to a monster. 10 years ago, I was stationed in a quiet suburb back when I was still active duty in the Air Force. Nothing fancy. Just your typical middle-class neighborhood with manicured lawns, porch flags, and polite nods from people who didn't really want to know your name. But right next door was hell. From the outside, their house looked normal, maybe even idyllic. But almost every week, sometimes multiple nights a week, you could hear screams coming from that place. Not arguments, not petty fights. Screams. Desperate, hollow, the kind that made your stomach. Not even if you weren't the one being hurt. I called the police more than once, but nothing ever seemed to stick. They'd show up, stay 10 minutes, and leave. Like clockwork. No arrests, no charges. Just a woman with hollow eyes and a man who always managed to smooth talk his way out of it. Until one day, we met her. It was pure chance. My girlfriend and I were grilling out back, and she poked her head over the fence. Her voice trembled like a rabbit, expecting to be hit. She had bruises, fresh ones, a handprint on her upper arm, and a deep, jagged cut across her calf. She told us, almost in a whisper, that he'd shoved her through a glass coffee table the night before. I'm not ashamed to say I felt rage, a deep primal kind, but she begged us not to call the cops, said he had connections, that he was a mortician in town and knew all the right people, that if we got involved, it'd only make it worse for her. That stuck with me. I couldn't forget it. So I did what I could. I was an EMT before the military, so I still had my trauma bag. I cleaned her wounds, bandaged her cuts, gave her a safe place to crash when it got really bad. Some nights, she'd curl up on our couch with a blanket up to her chin, trembling like she hadn't felt warmth in years. I never asked for details. I didn't need to. The pain was written all over her. Then he found out. I guess he saw her car out front too often, or maybe he just sensed she was slipping through his fingers. Abusers know when control starts to fade, and they panic. So what does he do? He makes up a story, goes to the sheriff's office and files a false police report, claiming that I'd threatened him with a gun, not just any accusation. He wanted me removed. One afternoon, a deputy rang my bell with a restraining order in hand, one that would legally force me to move out of my own house. I stared at that paper in disbelief. My stomach dropped. It felt like acid, because here I was, the one protecting someone, and suddenly I was a criminal? But here's the kicker. I didn't even own a gun anymore. I had one, a pistol I use open carry, totally legal in my state, but I'd sold it a month earlier to a cop, and fate, sweet, sweet fate, was smiling that day because that cop happened to be dating my girlfriend's friend, a social worker who already knew what was happening next door. So I picked up the phone and called him. "You won't believe what just happened," I said. He listened, didn't interrupt, then said 5 words I'll never forget. "Don't worry, I've got this." Next day, he shows up at the neighbor's place with a photo of my old gun, ruler next to it, time-stamped and printed like evidence. He plays it smart. "Is this the gun he pointed at you?" The guy says yes. "And that happened on insert date here?" He says yes again. That was all it took. He handed him a citation for filing a false police report. The restraining order was dropped, just like that. Turns out even corrupt friends in high places can't help you when you're stupid. But the story doesn't end there, because after that little stunt, this guy doubled down. The next time he saw me out front, he stared me down from across the driveway, and in this calm, almost robotic voice said, "You're going to regret getting involved." I just got my discharge papers. The military chapter of my life was closing. I was preparing to move back east, but before I left, I made a plan because I wanted justice, not with fists, not with threats, something quieter, something that lasts. Here's what I did. I went to the store and bought a stalk of bamboo. If you know anything about bamboo, you know it spreads, underground, fast, and once it takes root, it's almost impossible to eliminate without digging up your entire yard. I cut the bamboo into 4-inch shoots, waited until dark, hopped the fence, and with a rubber mallet, I drove those shoots into random spots all across his pristine backyard. Not too deep, just enough of the soil to hide them, enough for the roots to catch, enough for him not to notice until it was far too late. It started small, maybe a strange green stalk poking through his garden bed, a few shoots sprouting near the shed. Then the invasion. Bamboo started to overtake everything. Fast, aggressive, creeping into his flower beds, his lawn, cracking concrete, tangling through his sprinkler system. You can't mow it. You can't poison it. You can't burn it. You have to dig it out, root by root. And even then, it comes back. And the final nail in the coffin, I brought his wife to a women's shelter the same week I moved. Somewhere far enough away that he couldn't find her. Somewhere with security, counseling, and legal help. She was safe. For real this time. And him? He was left with a house full of emptiness and a backyard full of green vengeance. A living, breathing reminder of the neighbor he tried to ruin. To this day, I imagine him out there, every Saturday morning, trying to rip bamboo from the earth. Sweating, swearing, wondering how the hell it happened. Meanwhile, his social circle got smaller. The cops who used to look the other way stopped answering his calls. His control over his wife, gone. And me, I sleep just fine. Justice doesn't always come with a badge or a gavel. Sometimes it comes with a rubber mallet and a little creativity. And the people who hurt others, they always underestimate the quiet ones next door. If this story gave you chills, or made you wish you could have been the one planting that bamboo, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life revenge stories that remind us karma always shows up. And when it does, it's beautiful. Drop a comment below. What's the pettiest or most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? We read every one. See you in the next one.